Alright horror fam, let's talk about the blood-soaked, blues-drenched masterpiece that absolutely blew the doors off the horror world in 2025, Ryan Coogler's Sinners. It wasn't just a movie, it was an event. Michael B. Jordan playing twin brothers Smoke and Stack, that gorgeous 1930s Mississippi juke joint setting, hoodoo magic, racist monsters, literal monsters, vampires. Yes, one of the best world-building horror flicks we've seen in years. Now, when that ending hit, fans were left with one burning question: was that really the end, or just the beginning? Because Sinners wrapped its story beautifully, but let's be real, it left just enough open for us sickos to start cooking up what could come next. So let's break it all down, where the franchise stands right now, what the creators are saying, and what the industry is whispering, and of course our wildest and boldest theories for the sequel. You're tuned into First Slash, Sinners 2.
Maybe once a week, I wake up paralyzed, reliving that night. But before the sun went down, I think that was the best day of my life. Was it like that for you?
So let's rewind the tape. Sinners delivered a gut-wrenching finale. We watched Smoke sacrifice himself to stop the vampire Remmick and save young Sammy, while Stack and Mary both turned into vampires themselves, somehow made it out alive. Flash forward decades later, Sammy built a full-on career in the Chicago blues scene, while Stack and Mary, eternally young, eternally undead, show up to offer Sammy a gift of immortality. Sammy politely declined, thank you very much, and plays one final song for his vampire cousin. And then we also got that haunting post-credit scene of young Sammy strumming "This Little Light of Mine" in an empty church, hinting at some sort of spiritual peace. It's a full circle ending, the story feels complete, but man, you can't tell me Coogler didn't know exactly what he was doing when he left it like that. I mean, yeah, it does feel like a full circle ending. The story does feel complete, but at the same time, Ryan Coogler, I do feel like you left the door open just a little bit. Now, officially, Ryan Coogler has been pretty damn clear. In multiple interviews, he said that Sinners was designed to be a one-contained story. His words exactly, a holistic story. I never went into it thinking about sequels. He literally called it a full meal. Appetizer, main course, dessert, one full cinematic plate. And Warner Brothers, well, they're kind of saying the same deal. After a listing popped up in Production Weekly hinting at a potential Sinners 2 being quietly developed, Warner Brothers shot that down fast, saying not true, no sequel in development. As of right now, Ryan Coogler is meant to be laser focused on his upcoming X-Files reboot, so officially, nothing is happening yet. But here's where it gets interesting. Despite studio denials, the rumour mill has been feeding. That Production Weekly listing has had fans in a frenzy, and then scoopers like MTTSH jumped onto Twitter flat out claiming Sinners 2 is happening. Not maybe, not talks are happening, just straight up it's happening. Sites like Superhero Hype and Comic Book Movie picked up the reports and started speculating that if this movie does move forward, the next movie might focus on Stack and Mary in the modern day. And then you've got Michael B. Jordan himself, who hasn't confirmed anything, but said he'd love to explore the brothers' Prohibition-era Chicago years if the opportunity ever came up. So even though Coogler isn't running toward a sequel right now, the interest is there. The cast, well, they're game. The scoopers, they're whispering. And the fans, oh, we've been busy cooking. And you know this is First Slash, baby, and we don't just report the news, we take it one step further. So let's dive into 4 of the biggest, wildest, and honestly, most badass directions fans and we are pitching for Sinners 2, the Chicago prequel. Now, this one kinda writes itself. In the first film, we learn that Smoke and Stack had a whole life before Mississippi, and Michael B. Jordan has even teased this in interviews. Picture it. Late 1920s Prohibition-era Chicago, Smoke and Stack are running illegal speakeasies for the black community, navigating the mob underworld, racist cops and the looming threat of Al Capone's empire. But here's where it gets juicy. What if the vampire threat shows up first? Here. What if the brothers' first brush with supernatural starts long before Mississippi? We could see how Stack first met Mary. We could explore how his eventual fall to vampirism was seeded years earlier. Imagine Boardwalk Empire meets Blade meets Sinners, the period vibe, the jazz and blues soundtrack, the world building. Insane potential. The Immortal sequel. Then you've got the sequel everyone's begging for, Stack and Mary's Immortal Saga. That post-credit scene showed them alive and well in the 1990s, still looking fresh while Sammy's an old man. This could open the door to do a much more modern vampire story. Stack and Mary navigating the temptations of the modern world, technology, and maybe even the government itself involved in trying to uncover the vampire underworld. And then there's the emotional drama. Mary dealing with her guilt for betraying Stack all those years ago, Stack struggling to stay hidden while feeling the weight of immortality. Do they honor Smoke's sacrifice, or do they start turning others? I mean, you could easily bring back Jordan and Haley Steinfeld exactly as they are, no de-aging required. Now let's talk about the one fans are absolutely obsessed with, the origins of Remmick. I mean, Jack O'Connell's Remmick completely stole the show. The man dripped evil charisma, but we barely scratched the surface of who he really was. All we got was that one haunting line, "The Christians took my fatherland." And that's all fans needed to start spinning theories that this guy's been around for over 1,000 years. A full-blown historical prequel could take us back to ancient Ireland during its conversion to Christianity. We could see how Remmick was turned, what kind of supernatural forces existed back then, and how centuries of oppression and violence shaped him into the monster we meet in Mississippi. It's practically the Northman meets Interview with a Vampire, and let's be honest, Coogler exploring colonialism, religion and vampire lore? That would absolutely slap. The Choctaw. And finally, this one might be the deepest cut, but trust me, it's fire. The Choctaw encounter. Remember that chilling scene when Remmick arrives at the home of Bert and Joan, begging them for protection? The Choctaw showed up and warned them that Remmick was a real danger, and they just got sent away. Moments later, Bert and Joan are both turned into vampires. That little moment was terrifying, but it opened up a whole new side of this world that we barely saw. A spin-off set before the events of Sinner could follow the Choctaw trying to hunt and stop Remmick before he reaches Mississippi. You've got Native American folklore, mysticism, and survival horror all baked into that story. Imagine something like Prey, but with vampires instead of predators. It expands the lore, honors indigenous horror storytelling, and it gives us that dark western vibe that the first film only teased. And honestly, I need it. Now we want to hear from you. Are you dying to see Remmick's twisted origin story? Intrigued by Stack and Mary's Immortal Saga? Or have you cooked up a theory that would blow ours out of the water? Drop your hottest takes in the comments. And if you're loving our first / series, tell us which horror franchise you want us to sink our teeth into next. Don't forget to hit subscribe for more horror news, theories, unhinged speculation, and totally cursed sequel pitches right here on Oddly Horrific. I've been Connor, and I'll catch you in the next one.